Have you ever wondered how a nation evolves from the ashes of war? From a militaristic empire to a pacifist democracy? The story of Japan in the aftermath of World War II is a testament to such a transformation, a journey that was neither easy nor immediate, but one that reshaped the country's identity and role on the global stage. In September 1945, the formidable General Douglas MacArthur assumed the mantle of the Supreme Command of Allied powers, marking the commencement of a 7-year occupation that would fundamentally alter Japan. The occupation, characterized by a series of sweeping reforms, can be broken down into 3 defining phases. The initial phase, spanning from the end of the war through 1947, sought to both punish and reform Japan for its militaristic past. War crimes trials were held in Tokyo, serving justice to those responsible for the atrocities of the war. The Japanese army was disassembled, and former military officers were barred from holding political office. Economically, land reform aimed to redistribute wealth, benefiting the majority of tenant farmers and reducing the influence of wealthy landowners. The zaibatsu, large business conglomerates, were dismantled in an effort to transition the economy towards a free market capitalist system. A new constitution was introduced in 1947, courtesy of Allied advisors. The emperor's status was reduced to that of a ceremonial figurehead, with political power shifting to the parliamentary system. Women were granted more rights and privileges, and Japan renounced the right to wage war, eliminating all non-defensive armed forces. The second phase, from 1948 to 1950, focused on reviving the Japanese economy. A series of economic policies were enacted, designed to stabilize the country and to rehabilitate its industries. This period also saw a shift in U.S. policy, with a greater emphasis on rebuilding Japan as a bulwark against communism during the Cold War. The final phase, from 1951 to 1952, culminated in a formal peace treaty and alliance. The San Francisco Peace Treaty, signed by 48 nations, officially ended the occupation, and the U.S.-Japan Security Treaty established Japan as a key ally in the region. In conclusion, the Allied occupation of Japan was a monumental phase in the nation's history, transforming it from a militaristic empire to a democratic state. The occupation, with its series of military, political, economic, and social reforms, laid the groundwork for the Japan we know today, a nation that is a global leader in technology and innovation, a champion of human rights, and a staunch advocate for peace. The journey was not without its challenges, but the resilience and adaptability of the Japanese people have been instrumental in shaping their country's post-war narrative. The story of Japan's transformation is a testament to the power of change, a testament to the potential within every nation to redefine itself, even in the aftermath of the most devastating conflicts.
In the aftermath of World War II, Japan formally surrendered to the Allies on September 2, 1945. The surrender ceremony, lasting a mere 23 minutes, was held aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. This marked the end of the most devastating war in human history and the beginning of a new era for Japan. General Douglas MacArthur officiated the ceremony and took the reins of the occupation of Japan, with Emperor Hirohito retaining only symbolic authority. However, by late 1947, the realities of a struggling Japanese economy combined with growing concerns about the spread of communism led to a reconsideration of occupation policies. This phase, often referred to as the reverse course, focused on the economic rehabilitation of Japan. The Supreme Commander for the Allied Powers, or SCAP, feared that a weak economy could bolster the domestic communist movement, potentially destabilizing East Asia. To combat the economic crisis, various measures were implemented, ranging from tax reforms to inflation controls. Yet the most pressing issue remained: the shortage of raw materials needed to revive Japanese industries. The solution to this problem came unexpectedly with the outbreak of the Korean War in 1950. Japan, now the primary supply depot for UN forces, found itself within the US defense perimeter in Asia, effectively safeguarding it against any threats. The third phase of the occupation, beginning in 1950, saw SCAP working towards securing a formal peace treaty. The global perception of threats had shifted dramatically by this point. A rearmed and militant Japan no longer seemed as alarming as the creeping threat of communism, particularly in Asia. The final agreement allowed the United States to maintain its bases in Japan, promising a bilateral security pact to the Japanese leadership. In September of 1951, 52 nations convened in San Francisco to deliberate on the treaty. Ultimately, 49 of these nations signed it, the notable exceptions being the USSR, Poland, and Czechoslovakia, all objecting to the conditions imposed on Japan regarding China. In conclusion, the occupation of Japan post-World War II was a complex period marked by a shift in policies driven by economic challenges and political fears. The significant events of this era not only shaped Japan's recovery but also redefined its role on the global stage. The peace treaty signed in 1951 marked the end of the war and occupation, setting the stage for Japan's emergence as a global economic powerhouse.